Hey guys, Richard here at Ryden's Room. I'm doing another video for you. This time is my South Park Season 2 DVD review. It's probably about the same length as the last one, just be warned, because this one is even more episodes at 18, and I don't want to say, I don't know, episode 1, great, episode 2, bad, etc. No, I want to like a bit of, a couple of opinions on it, so really about expect 2 minutes per vid, roughly. And same sort of thing with the next ones, I think are series 3 and 6. Other than that, it's pretty like small length. So yeah, straight to it. Series 2. I know this has a bit of dislike towards it because it wasn't as strong as season 1 or anywhere near what came after. Can agree what people are coming up with. The storylines are quite simple and built around kids being kids, but much like when Simpsons has fallen into its like the beginning of its dark age, as dumb as some of the episodes were, like the Jockey Elves one, it was still funny. Yeah, it wasn't season 1 to 8 level, but it was still entertaining. And it's the same thing with season 2. The episodes make you laugh, and that's what matters. Episodes don't have to be too in-depth or political or focus on an issue or anything like season 4 begins with like changing the flag. It's just about having fun story, and the jokes are great. So yeah, first episode is Terrence Phillip in Not Without My Anus. The pop fungers that are here. I had to put them up for this because, of course, that was the episode where everyone thought, we'll find out who Cartman's dad was, and it was April Fool's Day, and it happened a week later. I was vaguely into South Park in '98, but man, I'd have been an adult really caught up in it and wanting to send Matt and Trey death threats. It's pretty funny and how it happened, and it's a great prank to pull on people, and it's just a good episode. Terrence Phillip, a great character, just so insane with the love of fighting on each other in their brilliant heads, just fun characters. Like their voices are so hyper and so, as Matt and Trey say, they're just so silly. It's really funny. Sam Hussein trying to take over Canada. It's pretty good. You got Scott the Dick, and makes a Lando Calrissian-esque deal. Saddam even references Darth Vader. I changed my mind. Pray I don't change it any further. And this deal's getting worse all the time. It's just Empire Strikes Back stuff and great. But yeah, great episode. And as long as you ignore the, not find out who Cartman's dad is, just enjoy the episode. And it's great, really enjoyable. And then, of course, X2, Cartman's mum is still a dirty slut. Love these titles. That's where you find out who Cartman's dad is. I'll just probably quickly say it, probably pretty obvious, but spoilers for the series. And it turns out to be his mum. Great stuff. And honestly, who really believed it? They come back to that idea in the future. I feel Cartman's mum is his dad, so who's Cartman's mother? If that, I'd go with Carl's mum. It should be perfect. Cartman would just want to kill himself. Great. End idea, but it's still a bit mad, isn't it? Cartman's mum being his dad is the same, but great episode. You got like America's Most Wanted and South Park residents resort to cannibalism when they haven't eaten since breakfast or lunch. Great stuff. And having watched him in Doctor Who, not the actor's fault, it's just terrible writing. Yeah, I'm all for them eating Eric Roberts. He's my least favourite master in Doctor Who, so yay. Next episode, Chicken Lover. Again, this is just great. It's completely mental. Matt and Trey obviously totally deranged, but it's just so damn funny. A guy who makes love to chickens, and it's all because Officer Barbrady can't read, and he puts the plan in place to make sure Officer Barbrady can read because it's the bookmobile driver. But then the first chicken was loved before he found out about Officer Barbrady. So I'm pretty sure it's just a cover story. And he just really loved to make love to chickens. Just some of the things he says, great. And yeah, just look at him in the episode. That guy is not to be trusted. Great episode, very funny. Next one, Ike's Wee Wee, where they think a circumcision is more like a neutering. Great episode, very funny, and it was just great watching Carl do everything he can to save Ike, and then finds out he's Canadian and turns against him, but then realises he doesn't care. They're brothers. It's a nice ending. Another Star Wars reference. His father had it, his brother had it. I love this. Matt and Trey are clearly Star Wars and Star Trek fans. I'll mention that in a moment. Next episode, Conjoined Fetus Lady. Now this probably, I was talking about this with Gemma last night, this is probably more advanced South Park in a way. Kind of like how they don't approve of people who think handicapped kids like Timmy and Jimmy should be hidden from the public. They should just treat them like normal people. This is sort of in the same vein. You've got the nurse has got a dead fetus attached to her head. The boys, of course, make jokes and make fun, but as a nurse says, that's just what little boys do because it helps them learn, which makes complete sense. And the residents of South Park decide they need to make everyone aware of Nurse Gollum's dreaded disease and host a big event for the whole week for her to make everyone accept it. And she doesn't want it, you can see, and in the end she just has to go out the entire town because she just wanted to be left alone and to live her life in peace. And it's kind of like a bit like with Tim and Jimmy, treat them like normal people. Don't give them special like attention or anything. Just don't hide handicapped people away, but just don't draw attention to their condition. Just let them be themselves. And it's kind of the same thing with Nurse Gollum. And of course, the adults don't learn their lesson. Sheila Bufowski is like, wow. And the principal like, wow, what an ungrateful bitch. The nerve of this woman. And whereas the kid's like, she's pretty cool. And the other plot in the episode is them playing dodgeball. And Pip was one of my favourite characters, how like badly they treat him. He comes to the star of their dodgeball team and somehow wins the entire tournament for South Park against the Chinese, who are just complete psychos. Great episode. Next one is just bizarre. The Mexican staring frog of southern Sri Lanka. It's basically Jimbo and Ned convinced there's a Mexican staring frog of southern Sri Lanka hurting the people of South Park. So they set out to prove it's real. They just get tricked by Sam and Kyle, Cartman and Kenny, because they're sorry about Vietnam being effectively an amusement park and killing every Viet Cong soldier. Gets some detention. Mr. Garrison doesn't believe a word of it, even though he just likes to pretend he's in Vietnam but wasn't actually there. But of course, Mr. Garrison thinks this is ridiculous. War is war, and it turns out Jim and Ned have actually told the truth. Apart from killing every Viet Cong soldier, that bit was a bit exaggerated. And the main point is Jesus has his TV show. I miss Jesus and Pals. And basically, it goes up against Ned and Jimbo's show, and it basically becomes like how Joey Springer show, X-rated, KKK members on, everything, great stuff. A big riot takes place at the end, and in the end, Jesus sends his producer to hell and turns the show back to its normal thing, and Jimbo and Ned seemingly to lose their new viewers as well. And Ned gets put in a coma because he's convinced the staring frog is actually real, and as he just looks in its eyes. It's probably one of the weak episodes, but it's still pretty funny. Just got to enjoy the ride. It's just a really mad storyline, but yeah, great time capsule for when Jerry Springer's show was around and everyone loved him. Next episode, City on the Edge of Forever, Star Trek reference. I've only ever seen one series of the original series Star Trek, but yeah, I recognise the reference, and that was just one of the best episodes. But on South Park, it's a flashbacks episode, and it's not like your usual clip show one. The endings change with them all eating ice cream at the end, and then you get Mrs. Crabtree, who falls in love. It's a nice storyline. It turns out all to be a Cartman's dream, or perhaps a dream within a dream, because Stan then dreams that Cartman dreamed all that stuff. I don't know the exact details. And then, yeah, sadly, it's being all a dream. Miss Crabtree didn't really find love, but even though she knows it's not real, she is just a kid's dream. She's happy, and it's a nice one. You've got some good moments in there, and again, the endings are great. Like you've got Cartman gets an anal probe where the aliens just after his anal probe turns into an ice cream stand, just starts serving ice cream to everyone. And just mad stuff like that. Kenny kills Death rather than Death killing him. And he just pulls ice cream out of Dev's corpse. You've got a nice little nod to Kenny's deaths where they remember Kenny being killed by the Fonz when he ran over him with a motorbike. But then in the same episode, a big black scary monster, which is outside where the school bus is crashed, which Miss Crabtree makes up, but turns out it's real and eats this random Star Trek-esque kid who also reminds me of Butters. That then gets Kenny, and they're like, dumbass Cartman, Kenny just died from that monster. How could he have died then? He's like, oh yeah. So there's a nice nod to that. It doesn't make sense for Kenny to die repeatedly. Yeah, good episode, and it's quite a fun way to do a clip show episode. It's kind of like the early Simpsons, like the April Fool's Day, where there's loads of new footage in there as well. Next one, Summer Sucks. Now, this has always been my least favourite. I always skip this one. It's just the kids find out in summer when there's no snow and it's just sun. They got nothing to do whatsoever. They usually play with fireworks, but they've been banned. Jimbo and Ned's attempt to smuggle some in backfires. They just build a giant snake by putting all these little snake fireworks together, and it just lets loose and doesn't go out and kills a bunch of people, including Mr. Garrison's therapist who's trying to help him realise he's gay. Yeah, it's an alright episode. It's got some laughs. Got Cartman attempting to be a swimmer. Till all the little kids pee in the pool, she hates. Cartman only knows how to do the doggy style swimming, which is very funny. That's doggy paddle, Eric. Oh yeah. Yeah, I just always usually skip that one. Next one, Chef's Chocolate Salty Balls. Great episode, and of course the song that was number 1 in the UK comes from there. Nah, don't think it's on this. It's just my. Oh no, I know I'm not wearing a shirt, but what the hell? It's South Park. Got to have something wacky on. So as Matt was saying, going on, that's me, the master of the unexpected gesture. It's a primarily chef-focused episode. There's a film festival. He's selling his chocolate salty balls, and all these stuck-up people come and don't really want to eat any of that. And the film festival just goes out of control, takes over South Park. Mr. Hankey comes back because it's summer. Still, I guess from the previous episode, it hasn't gone to winter yet. He basically dies when he comes out of the sewers, but Chef's chocolate salty balls bring him back to life, and he wreaks revenge by flooding the town with shit and killing Robert Redford, the film festival guy. So, great episode. And I hear that Matt and Trey weren't too keen on him after not getting much respect when they entered the film festival years before. So that was fun. Next episode, chicken pox. Again, this is just kids being kids, and I love it for that. It's quite simple. Kenny gets chicken pox. None of the other kids have got it, but Stan's sister does. The parents decide all the kids should go to Kenny's house to get chicken pox. And terrible idea. Cartman, who's the worst at the best of times, is just completely insufferable. Demanding this calamine lotion to cure his itchiness. Rubs his cat on his face. The one time he doesn't scream at his cat. Well, he does, and then just realises his cat works better as a scratching post. So once on that, Kyle doesn't seem to ever get sick with chickenpox, even when Kenny has to spit in his mouth while he says the word ookie mouth at the same time. It's a fun game that their parents have come up with, and it's just fun. In the end, after they all do get sick, they just get revenge and infect the kids with herpes when the prostitute do things with the parents' toothbrushes and underwear. Pretty funny. And not the most serious episode, but I like it. It was a good laugh. The next episode is Roger Ebert should lay off the fatty foods. Now, this is basically Star Trek Dagger of the Mind from what I remember. Pretty good. A planetarium guy is effectively trying to take over South Park. No one cares about his planetarium anymore, and he just brainwashes everyone, adults and kids, to volunteer for him. It's pretty funny, and the ending when Stan and Kyle mention how his mind's been wiped, because in the end Cartman goes on a Cheesepoof commercial and saves the day because no one's watched his commercial because they've been busy with the planetarium, and manages to inadvertently save everyone and kicks the machine over, and the doctor gets brainwashed, but his line's blanked because no one's talking, and they make a line, "Can you imagine your mind emptied by that thing?" or something, and from what I remember that Star Trek episode, it's pretty much the same, so that was kind of fun. Good episode overall. It's good moments. Not the best, in fact probably it's one of my least favourite episodes in the series, but again, good series, it's just not among the best. Next episode is Clubhouses. Again, this is just kids being kids. Stan has to build a clubhouse to play Truth or Dare with Wendy, so he can kiss Wendy, although because he's always sick, I'm not sure how he's going to manage that, but he ropes Carl into it because Bebe now has a crush on Kyle because he's got such a hot ass, and Cartman and Kenny are forbidden from being part of it because it's just them, so they make their own clubhouse, Ewok Village 2000, except Kenny does all the work, Cartman is the foreman, and as Kenny is poor, he has to be the worker. Kenny has to do things like cut school early, wait for the hot tub guy, and their clubhouse looks absolutely terrible. Tree house, as Cartman's mum calls it. Nope, it's a clubhouse, and they tear carpet up from the living room to put that in there. Very funny, it's never seen again, it probably collapsed at some point. And the other plot is Randy and Sharon, Stan's parents, get divorced and have an argument, break up, get divorced, and get back together all within the same episode. Pretty funny stuff. And Sharon meets this new guy called Roy, who's got to be one of the best one-off characters. His desire for Stan to love him, and he's constantly forcing him to cut firewood. Great character, and he's never seen again, so he probably dies by the end of the episode. Very funny, and it's just a good laugh. Next episode is Cow Days. This is kind of insane. It's a right episode. I just kind of tend to skip it. Basically, South Park hold an event. A couple of poor contestant winners from some other town show up, as they win a prize, and that's the only vacation they got for a long time. So they go there, and basically they build a giant cow statue, which the cows gradually begin worshipping. Steal the statue. The new people get thrown in prison and get forgotten about, and then end up dying. Again, how much time's passing in these episodes? It's where it's the same day. They're dead with rats snoring on them. It's a pretty funny episode. Lots of good stuff happens, and even major things happen in that episode. It's fairly unmemorable. It's there's the cows, like any cult, all commit suicide when their cult's broken up. The FBI show up to stop them. and Tail force all the cows because he's like cows all across America that somehow come to the South Park giant cow. Basically every hour it lets out a moo and all the cows start worshipping it, and when their cult's over they all like throw themselves off cliffs. It's kind of sad. It's obviously kind of funny in a way that like these cows just are like throwing themselves to their death, but yeah, it's like music, Jimbo, and a couple of people like horrified. It's quite sad, but yeah, South Park still do emotion even in the like madder episodes. Next one, Chef Aid. Now this is the big one. Matt and Trev said they despise a lot of actors, but they've got no issue with musicians unless they're taking the piss out of them for being greedy, like we'll see in a season 7 episode. But these are some of like the best musicians they could have got in. Your Elton John, I'm still convinced. Excuse me, he was in season 1, but we don't know for sure. Ozzy Osbourne shows up and he ends up biting Kenny's head off, lighting his bat, which is pretty cool. Meatloaf, who used to be a thing guy called Couscous, and just turns out Chef has helped all these people at some point in his life. Chef has written a song, but he never officially released it, and so Alanis Morissette's released this new song called Stinky Britches, which is Chef's. He's actually just simply asked just to get his name put on the song, and the record producer is just the biggest dick ever. Is like, nope, I'm going to sue you for harassment. Won't he admits he stole Chef's song? Well, first he says, I see no resemblance between that song and the one by our artist Alanis Morissette. And I was like, it's the same goddamn song. Yeah, just because he's a complete bastard, he doesn't want to actually give anyone any reward. And yeah, he just sues Chef, wins. You've got a great lawyer called, you've got the great Johnny Cochran, and he has a great Chewbacca defense about how if Chewbacca lived on Endor, you must acquit. It's clearly a reference to the whole, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit thing in OJ. And it's pretty good. Kyle's dad, being a lawyer, is not as good as Johnny Cochran, who Cartman would love to kick in the nuts. And yeah, Chef loses. The boys try and make money by selling chocolate bars. That doesn't make anywhere near enough money he needs. Even after Chef prostitutes himself to the entire town and makes like thousands, it's still not quite enough. But then the likes of Elton John realised they could actually help and actually put on a music show. And it's pretty good. Johnny Cochran shows up. And even though the record producer just sabotages the whole thing, his heart grows 3 times, a nice Grinch reference, and represents Chef for free and uses Chewbacca reference, Chewbacca defense again, and Chef wins, gets his $1 million fine presumably reversed and keeps the money for himself. Who knows? But he gets his name put on the song, and everything's back to normal. He's just cooking for the kids again the next day. So yeah, nice episode. It's great to see so many guest stars. It's probably the equivalent of The Simpsons Homer Palooza or Homer at the Bat. Obviously, Homer Palooza's music. Homer at the Bat was baseball players. Yeah, barring say George Clooney voicing Sparky or Jay Leno doing the odd role in season 1. Yeah, this was a big deal, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And I know they released the South Park soundtrack with those songs, which was great. I never had that, but I did buy the one for film and Team America years later. I'll review them as part of the seasons which they matched. Team America's in season 8 and South Park film in season 3, because that's like pretty much the point they came out. Next episode is Spooky Fish. This was their next Halloween episode, like the first one. Retaliation against Barbra Streisand having to go at them. They put Spooky Vision on where she appears in the corner of every shot, which is funny. And main plot is you've got an evil parallel universe Eric Cartman, who is of course like the nicest kid ever, and they do a great little line down the middle of the screen, and it's a reference to when they used to do that stuff and struggle to show the two actors like the same person side by side, like dodgy special effects of the old days. And it's pretty funny. It's just great seeing how like different the evil Eric Cartman with a goatee is, and I constantly call him Evil Cartman, even though he's like the nicest guy ever. And yeah, I swear their Cartman is worse than ever. He's just constantly in this episode, he's using the word hella, refuses to like help everyone, tells him to kiss his black ass. Oh, it's great. And yeah, you think he'd want to fit in with the evil parallel universe people, because yeah, Stan and Carl are just, those versions are just really bad. And no, Cartman stays there. Of course, in the end, they've got this gun to send the evil Cartman back, but of course, Stan and Carl send their Cartman back, but it goes wrong, and they end up stuck with the original Cartman. So yeah, Cartman kind of gets what he wants as usual, and yet Spooky Fish, because Kenny has a pet, Stan has a pet goldfish that starts killing everybody, and Stan's mum believes Stan is the murderer. It's just completely insane, even when it's like fully grown people Stan could never kill. She was like convinced it is until there's fish and all the other evil power universe animals. Because yeah, the shop it came from was opened on an Indian burial ground, and it caused like a portal to open and loads of evil animals to come through. Yeah, pretty funny, and it's just great watching like evil Cartman being so nice and original Cartman just being so terrible. Next episode, Merry Christmas, Charlie Manson. Another Christmas one, like in series 1. It's pretty funny. Obviously, Charlie Manson's a terrible person, and if never happened, it's just kind of funny watching him be redeemed in a Mr. Hanky Grinch episode. Yeah, really funny stuff. And you got Cartman's family. You know, all the kids go there for the holidays. Dan isn't allowed to go, but goes anyway. And they're just like Cartman. All of them are overweight, with the sole exception of Cartman's mum. And they've all got the exact same mannerisms. You've got Grandma Cartman, who's got, "Hey, Eric, come here and give me a hug." So, bad impression, but they just all have that classic voice. And I'm sure women don't voice those characters. It's like Matt or Trey doing it. So something in a season 3 episode. And you got like the dog Jimmy, like how Kitty's always being like harassed by Cartman. You got their bulldog Jimmy getting the exact same treatment. Pretty funny. And yeah, you got Mr. Hanky. People are like capitalising on his success from the film festival episode, and Kyle sees through it, and a riot starts out. Yeah, good episode, and definitely enjoy that one. And Gnomes next episode. This is absolutely great. This is where underwear is being like stolen, and only one kid, Tweak, knows what's going on. He's this like new kid at the time, who like his first episode, who's just addicted to coffee. His parents give him coffee repeatedly, even though he's constantly G-sleep. They just think it's ADD, so they keep giving him coffee. He can never sleep, and when the gnomes show up to rob him at 3:30, he's awake. But of course, no one believes him. Even when people in the same room, if they're not just paying attention to him, they don't notice. So it's absolutely great. Yeah, basically, Tweak's dad, his business is going to be run out of town by a corporate guy from Harbucks, and the people decide to like have him thrown out of town because they want to like protect small businesses. It's absolutely great, and the kids, yeah, of course, get caught up in it all. They write a report about how they're how bad evil corporations are, because Mr. Garrison forced them to do a report so he doesn't get fired, because he just, of course, doesn't teach the kids anything important. And it's just great. The Underpants gnomes show up. They realise, like, they eventually get tired of Tweak panicking. They see them, and the Underpants gnomes have just got the greatest approach ever. Step 1, collect the underpants. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, profit. It's like such a good idea. I mean, years back I had this book about how to like write novels, and they even had a section in there, like part 18 something, the Underpants gnomes. I was like, no way. And yeah, basically have a middle. The gnomes seemingly have no idea how they're going to make all that money, and it came up in a book, in a story, on a book on how to write stories. I just love that. Yeah, really funny. Tweak is a great character. He, mum and dad are fun characters as well. Of course, they're like, Mr. Tweak is like one of the other idiots of South Park. Only really cares about himself, and doesn't seem to notice like how unhappy his son is because he like hepped up on coffee. Great stuff. And yeah, really, really good episode. Definitely worth watching again. Last episode is Prehistoric Iceman. Of course, this is the Steve Irwin episode, not the one for season 10, which you probably heard about, which I think is very insensitive. You know, do a habit of just doing something new if like the opportunities come up. But no, this is great. Basically, this is much better. This is when Steve Irwin was alive. The kids basically see his TV show where he like discovers all these, he does love animals, and he discovers things about them by jamming his thumb up their butthole. Anything, he like finds a crocodile and does that, and of course ends up getting severely injured. But no, he keeps on doing it. He shows up in South Park later and does it to a rattlesnake. And the main part of the episode, they find this guy who's been frozen. He's been frozen for nearly 3 years. So this is early 1999. Everyone is like swept up in the nostalgia of how great 1996 was. And it was pretty funny. Of course, everything from 1996 is there. They the mad genetic engineer, Dr. Mephisto, sticks him in a habitat and has things from 1996, which is bad internet and Acer bass playing over and over again. They changed the odd song around, thank God, but you just treat him like a circus attraction because he's from 1996. Even the adults can't even understand what he's saying to them because they're just complete idiots. Pretty funny. Stan and Carl have a falling out over what his name should be. They basically decide to fight each other, make Cartman their best friend, and they're like hesitate, like they don't know what to do because they've been best friends. But no, they happily like beat each other to a pulp, and eventually the artists, because they help Steve, or Gorak as they want to call him, escape. Dr. Mephisto and these three guys who it turns out wanted to use him to take over Sweden show up to like bring him in, and they bring Steve Irwin to get his help. Steve Irwin has no issue tracking anyone down, and he's happy to jab his thumb up even humans' buttholes, which he does. He's up in this like fight on top of a moving train. Now for the coup de grace. Let's get my thumb here. No. Brilliant. Definitely recommended, and I imagine Steve Irwin would have loved that episode. It just show how mad he is with his way of discovering things about all these beautiful animals. It's really, really funny, and yeah, it's all good. They get Stan and Carl become friends again. Like Steve thanks them for their help because they only cared about helping him. He goes off to a place called Des Moines in America, which is like 3 years behind, so he's gone back home because yes, one last thing from the episode, he finds his wife, who in like 2.5 to 3 years has forgotten all about him, and it turns out they sent out a search party when he disappeared. Searched all afternoon, moved on, got remarried, and then had an 8 and 13-year-old kid with someone else. Just that's what I love about stuff. I don't these things like Eddie says, but they're so damn funny. So yeah, that's it. So season 2, really funny episode. Definitely admit the episodes aren't as great as like later ones like season 3 or even season 1, but overall it's a really, really funny series. The jokes are great. A few weaker episodes, of course, but no, I just can't see that season 2 potentially led to the show being cancelled. Just doesn't seem likely, but no, I liked it and definitely recommended. So yeah, probably give it an 8 out of 10. Good show, good season, but it will only kind of get better. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Again, if you like this, please like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.